Don't draft JT in 2025. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
But Smitty, this doesn't make any sense. I own him in 3 leagues.
I get that some of you are going to be a little bit upset about this video, and I get it. You own JT, you're going to be mad. But I've got good news. His value is pretty good. Before we even begin, you could trade JT for players like Harvey and maybe even get something. You could trade JT for a player like Hendy. You can trade JT across position for a guy like Travis Hunter. I know these are all rookies, but you know how your boy loves rookies. So this is my advice. You're going and getting a Hunter, a Hendy, a Harvey. Maybe you go and get a player like Kyron Williams, who, in my opinion, has easily the same amount of time left as JT, and he's about to get his contract extension, which is going to make him more valuable to people. They're just gonna be very, I guess, okay with him all of a sudden because now the team is invested in him. Breece Hall would be a fantastic go get, maybe even straight up, just go get Breece Hall. There's so many ways to trade JT, and the good news, again, before we get into any of the negative, JT has tremendous value right now. That's the whole point and why I'm doing this video, is you can get rid of him now. Now let's break down why. Smitty, I own him. I don't understand this. You're really upsetting me. Look, there's a lot to like about JT. If we start off with the positives, he was running back number 1 in 2021. Running back number 1. He scored 369 points in a league I'm looking at right here. Austin Eckler was number 2. This is like looking back in a time machine, though, that you don't remember. Najee was number 3. Joe Mixon was 4. That sounds like some sort of back in the magazine drafting days. Like, wow, JT, Eckler, Najee, Mixon, James Conner, Leonard Fournette was 6. Zeke Elliott was 7. Kamara was 8. Cordero Patterson was 9. Aaron Jones 10. Josh Jacobs 11. Antonio Gibson 12. Nick Chubb 13. The last time JT was dominant, it was back in that season. But in 2022, 2023, 2024, JT was running back 33. 2023, he was running back 33. A little bit different depending on your scoring. And in 2024, I know. He had such a good finish. We're real excited about him in 2025, right? Let's look at where he finished in 2024. Well, I mean, while he did have a very strong finish, he was still not inside the top 10. So running back 13, 14, 12, depending on your scoring. This guy hasn't been a top 10 running back since 2021. When Antonio Gibson, Cordero Patterson, Austin Eckler was 2, Leonard Fournette was in the mix. He has not been a top 10 running back since 2021. I don't know how much I can emphasize that when we're sitting here trying to say, but he finished really strong, but he didn't finish top 10. He didn't play well all year. He's always injured every single year. Ladies and gentlemen, he has one of the worst offenses, period. He has one of the worst quarterback situations in the entire National Football League. Danny Dimes made Saquon Barkley looked like he was playing with one leg with a hand tied behind his back. Danny Dimes is not a good recipe for running back production. Not to mention the Colts offensive line's in shambles. They have no real great wide receiver threats at all. And you could say Josh Downs. I hear all the chatter like Josh Downs is going to be some magnificent player this year. He's got likely a rotational quarterback situation, one of which we know AR5 isn't going to feed Josh Downs consistently. So if Danny Dimes fails, and he will fail, what happens to the transition of maybe Downs' production if he does do well under Danny Dimes? Danny Dimes runs vultures, is not a good quarterback. He's changing teams. Shane Steichen hasn't developed anybody since Jalen Hurts. Maybe he's a Fugazi himself. You've got 2 of the worst check down artists in the National Football League in Danny Dimes and AR5. Both ranked in the 40s for check downs in the National Football League last year. We hear a lot of people say, oh, Justin Fields doesn't check down to his running backs. Breece Hall's in trouble. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Fields was actually number 1 in the National Football League in checking down to his running back last year. That means Breece Hall's going to, should we say, to Jupiter. So you can complain about Fields all you want. Fields is a gold mine for running back production. And I think that's going to be evident this year. We've never seen Fields play in a good offense with a good offense line, with a good defense, with good coaching, and a receiver like DJ Moore again, probably better, and Garrett Wilson with all that surrounding support is going to make the relationship between Garrett Wilson and Fields even stronger. And then the running back connection, and Breece Hall is one of the best pass catching backs to play in the last decade in the National Football League. So, I mean, this is going to be a 70 reception season for Breece Hall. But as we digress back into the negative space here and say that you've got one of the worst offensive lines and situations on the line that you could find because of the turmoil at quarterback and the changing of the two when you rotate back and forth, and that's going to happen. Or Danny Dimes' period makes for bad offensive line production. So you have a horrible offensive line situation all year long that will even get worse or inconsistent if they rotate quarterbacks. You have probably the worst amount of supporting cast you could find in the National Football League in conjunction with a bad quarterback or concerning quarterback play. Again, you have two, AR5 and Danny Dimes, two of the very worst, not even top 32 quarterbacks in checking down to the running back. This guy is toast. And you have an injury history that is just crazy and astronomically concerning. This guy has not, again, been a top 10 running back since 2021 when Leonard Fournette was a baller and Cordero Patterson was a top 12 running back. This is not the guy to go get. The most concerning part is his ADP and where he's going in Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty, where you can get your first deposit match 50% all the way up to $1,000. So make sure you get on over to Underdog, code Smitty. Link is in the description of the video. We draft every night at midnight. So if you want to draft with me, if you want to draft with the crew, then you want to hit that link that's in the description or use code Smitty. Get ready, get that deposit match, and draft and smash at midnight Eastern almost every single night on this channel. That's how we roll. That's how we do it. It's how Dad did it. It's how America does it, and it's worked out pretty good so far.
Let him cook.
Back to the negative space. JT is a big damn concern. And anybody that thinks that this is going to be okay because you own him, or it's going to be okay because you like what he did in spots last year, that's what he does. He's one of the most injury-prone players. And when you take an injury-prone player like JT, you throw him in an offense where the offensive line's in shambles. You throw him in an offense where the quarterback play is going to be spotty and garbage. You throw him in an offense where they don't check down to the running back. You add all of those red flags up, and then we look at his ADP on Underdog, and we scratch our head, and we say, how in the hell is this possible? How in the hell are we doing this right here? Why is this happening on my watch? How is JT going ahead of Bucky Irving? How is JT the number 8 running back? How is JT going ahead of Chase Brown, Kyron Williams? You know, even Breece Hall. I'm not saying, and this is why I brought up Breece Hall earlier to then tie it back in. I'm not saying draft Breece Hall over JT. You don't need to. That's like saying go spend $500,000 on a $200,000 house because I promise you it'll be worth $600,000. You got to be smart. You got to make good decisions. I'd rather go wide receiver shopping where JT's going at 20 overall. His ADP is 20 overall. Again, Bucky's below him. Chase Brown's below him. Kyron. I'd take any one of those running backs over JT at the pick when on the clock. But would I take a guy like Hampton or Breece Hall? I want Hampton and Breece Hall more than JT. But in an Underdog redraft or best ball setting, I'm just going to go wide receiver shopping at 20 overall, or Brock Bowers or McBride shopping or whatever. And then I'm grabbing the running back the next round. I'm grabbing, let's say Breece Hall in round 3 or round 4, Hampton in round 3 or 4. I'd rather have Harvey in round 5 than JT in round 2, which affords me decisions that I can make in 2 that are not related to running back or not related to JT. I don't mind taking Bucky and then still taking Breece Hall later or still taking Harvey later. Point is, though, at 20 overall and redraft in best ball, this is a grave mistake. Now in Dynasty, I believe his value is a little less, and the ADPs in Dynasty are all over the map. You can't really get a good ADP in Dynasty because everybody values everything different across leagues, and some people play for the now, some leagues play, for the future only. I think this is something where it's best to upgrade him than to do anything, meaning that you're probably going to want to not just try and do a 1-for-1, because then people start evaluating the risk. Like JT alone, if you think about it, JT alone has this concern, right? If I want to swap JT alone for Hampton, no one's going to do that because they're going to sit here and go, oh, I'm going to hyper focus on this. What's wrong with this? All the risk and onus is going on JT. I don't like it. I don't like it is what they're going to say. I don't like it. No, he's okay. I don't like it. And so in that, you need to confuse matters. This is the psychology in fantasy football, the psychology of trading. You need to throw JT plus something, whether it's, let's say you have an extra quarterback, whatever, or a second rounder, or potentially multiple second rounders. Maybe you throw in 3 second rounders, whatever the case may be. You try and get this trade to be confusing, and you try and put some of the weight and onus on this particular portion so this doesn't have all of the risk, and someone's willing to say, maybe I'll take a chance on JT instead of, oh, it's all on JT. That's the psychology behind trading. JT for Hampton, JT for Harvey, as I mentioned earlier. Maybe you don't have to give as many second rounders. JT for Travis Hunter if you want to go cross position. I love that mother freaking trade. JT for Kyron, we even said, because I believe Kyron's got more time, because I don't think JT has any time as a top 10 running back. So Kyron's certainly got more time in the NFL as a starter, but this guy could be a top 5 running back for 2-3 more years. I love, as I said, getting Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall, you can't even read that. I think Breece Hall does a hell of a job in this type of situation. I think I would probably love doing something along the lines of getting an MHJ who's doubted, getting a player like Bucky would take a lot. If you could do this though. This is not, we shouldn't not try because it's difficult or might take a lot or might cost more. I'm giving first rounder, second rounder with that to turn JT into Bucky. You're going to have to pay the piper in order to get the upgrade in the security. And at the end of the day, I'm giving away what I believe with Bucky, especially being added to my team, which makes my pick lesser, makes it a bad pick, right? I'm giving away almost a near second round pick, a 1.12, a 1.11 with JT, all the risk of JT to go get Bucky Irving. To go get a player like, even if it's not Bucky, Achan's got some doubters and some believers based on what's going on over there in Miami. And then bringing Waller in might have deflated some of the allure that some people quickly had. So maybe you can do something similar to this. Obviously, I'd take Genty. There's so many other, you have to give up a boatload more to get Genty. But there's so many ways to do this. And I think that, honestly, Harvey's so cheap right now. He's 24 years old in Dynasty. People hate that. I don't mind it. His odometer and NFL miles is 0. So I would probably personally consider this right here if I believe my first rounder is going to be very, very late. But you're, of course, going to try and give other assets or give a second rounder times 3 second rounders times 2 to get this done. Harvey, Hendy, Hampton, Hunter, love all those guys. Go get rid of JT in Dynasty. The worst case scenario is he does well and the other owner and you both make out. You're taking a safer avenue. Your avenue will work out as well. So the worst case scenario is you're wrong. He plays well. You both make out. The trade you make's probably even Steven, and then that's that. But if I'm right, you win a league. If I'm right, you build a dynasty. Now get out of here and make sure you understand that I'm live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. I'm live additionally whenever news breaks. And I'm also live almost every single midnight Eastern, graveyard style, after dark style, drafting on Underdog code Smitty. And don't forget to get on over to the Patreon, which is a 24/7 live chat. Cancel anytime, $10 a month. Try it for 1 month. It's like a cup of coffee. It's basically a 24/7 live chat group that I'm in all the time. I live in this thing, but it's not just about answering questions that all of you have that I, like me sitting there going, let me answer all these. It's about the community coming together and answering questions. And hey, chat, what do you think of this? And I'm involved in the answers, but it's not all about me. It's about the community. And there's nothing better than a 24/7 live chat group. Even on the 4th of July, you're like, hey, what are you doing, guys? What are you eating today? It's just a group. It's a family. Go do it live. $10 a month. Patreon.com/The Fantasy Football Show. Links in the description of every video. The Underdog links in the description as well. And honestly, you're looking for these links later. Just know all these links are pretty much in the description of every video I have, so you can always find them later. I'll see you all later. Deuce.